Welcome and thank you. Thanks for coming today. I hope this turns out to be a really helpful session for you guys. I'm really excited to share this. I remember when I came here as an international student, I was really nervous about finding a job because I didn't have much work experience either before coming in. So for my first interview and my first job application and everything, it was definitely a little bit of struggle, and it was something new to me. So I'm really glad that I can be on this side right now and kind of tell you and give you some tips on how to do that and probably help you with that application process. So we're gonna start. I'm gonna share screen, and you guys let me know if you can see my screen. Okay. Um, my computer is really slow. I don't know if it's the internet or what. Can you guys see my screen? I just want to see the chat for a bit. If you can confirm in the chat. Okay, perfect. Yes. Perfect. Thank you. I'm just gonna make sure I'm recording because I know some student had class at this time or something like that. So post record. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so welcome. This is going to be a session for you to know a little more about what you need to apply for a job in Canada. I think it's really important for us to say that this it's based on applying to a part-time job in Canada. So this could vary from country to country. So I think it's important to just say it out loud. Um, yeah, so we're going to learn different things about what type of documents you need, how's the process, just kind of having an overview, and then some tips that we can give you. And some resources at the end of the session. You're going to learn about some resources that you can go to as a University of Waterloo student at any time. So welcome. By the end of the session, I hope that my hope for you guys is that you know the basics about the documents you need. So like what do you need to apply for a job in Canada? Um, and then going into those basics, how do you build your resume? So that's a little bit of a spoiler alert there, but how do you build your resume? Like knowing what type of information you need to include in your resume, and how you do that in the best way possible. Building experience, so you're going to learn a little more about resources that will give you that extra help on building your skills here in Canada, um, and things that you can add to your resume or will be good to add to your resume, right? So the other part too is that we want to show you different web tools that the university has, and also off campus job listing websites that you can go to find those jobs, right? Because that's a big part too. Where can I look for jobs? Where are these jobs posted? So we're going to learn a little bit more about that. And then we're going to give you a few tips on how to prepare yourself for an interview. But first, we're going to start with a poll. So I want you guys, let me just go a little bit off here to give you the link. But I want you guys to go to this link and answer one simple question. What do you think are the most important skills to apply for a job? You can say that, for example, some of you can um, think that maybe um, leadership skills are the most important, or communication, I don't know, teamwork, problem solving, project management. There's so many different skills, writing skills, uh, oral skills, right? So, what do you think it's the most important skill to have for a job in general, just to apply for a job in general? Um, so here's the code to you if that's how you want to go do that. Um, let's stop share this part and see. Okay, and see what you guys have. There you go. Uh, can you guys go to this? Oh, sorry, I think I put the wrong link there. Here's the link, or the code is, I'll give you the code here. There you go. So you can go by clicking in the second link, sorry, not the first one, the second link, or you can also just do the code, going to menti.com. Okay, I see some answers here. Someone saying communication. This is anonymous, so I can't really see who is putting what, just the answers. But we'll give you a little bit more of time to see what you guys think. Okay. Oh, sorry, just let me go back here. Okay, let me go back to my screen. Yeah, I saw communication and other other answers, and it's true. Communication is one of the main ones. Let me just share my screen again to keep going. So yeah, thank you for that. Now I'm gonna give you just a little bit of an overview of what the job application process looks like. Um, it's a whole process, so it involves a lot of different stages per se. Um, so the first one, it's preparing yourself for your application. So there you go. So this is where you build all your, you prepare all the documents that you need for the application and everything they're asking for. Then you get the actual stage to apply for jobs. And you're going to use different tools for that. You can use websites, you can use job boards, or referrals, which are basically when someone else suggests your name per se, like they know how you work, they know you're good for the job, and they're looking for someone for a job position. Then you have the interview process, which can be in so many different ways. So this can be done in person, by, like through phone, a phone call or a video call, right? And also they have different type of interviews depending on how many candidates they have. They have a one-on-one, which is you and the employer, um, or they also have panel interviews, which means you will be there with other job applicants. And finally, you get the job offer. But when you get the job offer, you will probably be asked for some documents to hand in. So the reference check, it's basically giving out some referent contacts, probably people that have worked with you, um, people that, and that involves so many different things. Like has worked with you means you both work in a company, or you work for that person, or you work with that person in a volunteering position too, that also is allowed. For example, when I had my first job, one of my references was someone from Renison that I worked with in a volunteering position. So I didn't have any work experience here in Canada, but I did volunteer for some stuff, and I put those people down as my references. So if you ever need a reference and you were part of something at Renison, you can always come to us and ask for one. I think you can also ask for reference as a reference to a professor or an instructor that knows your work, because that shows a lot of different skills, right? and they know your work, like you submitted a lot of different things for them, so they know how you work, they know the quality of your work, so they are always a good reference to add to. Sometimes they ask you for security clearance, which basically means a police record saying that you don't have anything on your record, that you're clean. They don't always do that, just some jobs, depending on what type of job you're doing. And then, of course, the contract. And sometimes you will negotiate, but that's more for like full time positions. Right now, we're going to focus on the part time jobs. So, if you guys want to put it in the chat, do you think it's the main document that you need to apply for a job? A cover letter, a resume, or a CV? I'll give you a few seconds to answer that question. So these are all documents that you will probably be asked, or like can be asked to submit, but which one is the main one? B, a CV, Serena is saying. Okay, so the main document that you will be asked in Canada when you're applying for a job, it's a resume. We're gonna see later in a bit actually what a resume is, but it's important for you to know that the resume, it's the basic document you will submit. Sometimes this will be accompanied by a cover letter. Not always, again, it depends on the employer and the type of job you're doing, but most of the time they ask you for both resume and cover letter. A CV in Canada, it's asked mostly when you're doing, for example, research or something that involves knowing your whole history. That means your whole work history, all the achievements you've done or accomplished, all the education you've done. That means not only putting information about your school, but any other, for example, any other certificates you have. Um, so basically, a CV will involve everything, your full professional life per se, or history, and educational history. But a resume, it's a little bit more compact. So let's learn a little bit more about it. Yeah, and a CV, that's not really asked a lot. For example, for all the jobs I've applied for and all the times that I've been job searching, I've never been asked to submit a CV. But I know sometimes for other type of jobs they do ask for one. It is good to have a record though of things you've done. But let's learn a little more about this basic document that we are saying that they always ask. So the resume, what is a resume? This, as you can see here, this is a type of resume. We have so many different types, but this is one of them. This is just an example. You don't have to do it specifically this way or with this design. It's just an example. So it's a formal document that offers an overview of your professional qualifications and experience. And the most important part here is that it has to be relevant to the job opening. So remember how we said that in a CV, you add all your work history and your professional development? So in a resume, this is more compact because it only highlights the parts of your professional history or work history that it's related or relevant to the job that you're applying for. For those students who probably don't have prior experience, you will add whatever you've done. But when you start building experience and you need to pick what's the best, you're always going to pick what's the best fit for the company. Yeah, and this could be so many different things, and we're gonna see what's included in it. So the purpose of a resume is to demonstrate your abilities, so all your skills, and convince employers that you are a qualified job applicant and you are a good fit for the company or the job type of the job position that you're applying for. Some things to keep in mind when writing a resume is that it has to be 1 or 2 pages long. It's not longer than 2 pages, never. That's why we say that it's like the compact version of a CV, because it's only 1 page long. Sometimes 2 pages. I think that when I started university, they used to tell me that it's 1 to 2 pages long. But with the years, I've noticed that a lot of people do more of the 1 page long resume. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to just put in the chat or say it out loud at any times, by the way. Sorry, I forgot to mention that at the beginning, but if you guys have any questions at all about anything that I'm saying, feel free to just say it out loud. Yeah, and then it's, as you can see here, it's done in bullet points. It's not full paragraphs. It's just 1 or 2 sentences per bullet point, and has a concise language. So it's not like writing a whole paragraph explaining it. It's more going straight to the point. You have to be really careful to write in a formal way too. So like good grammar, good vocabulary, and no slangs or words that you use for just casual conversations per se. Um, and then the other part, as I said before, you have to showcase relevant experience and skills. But let's dive a little bit into what's included on your resume specifically. So as you can see from this example, um, first you have your name and what you do. For students, you would probably just put the program you're doing here and then add student at the end. So for me, I was a global studies, global business and digital arts student. And then you're gonna add your contact details, so your contact information. This can be different. The basic ones is your email address, your phone number, your location, not specifically, but just like kind of like there. And then another part that it's big here, it's the LinkedIn profile that you have. So LinkedIn is a platform for networking, and it's basically kind of like a Facebook for working, because you have a profile, you can post and everything, but it's all related to work and kind of like professional development. And then you can, if you have a portfolio or something like that, or like a website or things like that, you can always add them there too in the contact information part. Then you have your introduction or summary of qualifications. This will really vary between like what job you're doing. For example, this person here has an introduction instead of a summary of qualifications, but sometimes you will do a summary of qualifications too, which is basically put in some skills that you have in bullet points, but kind of like diving a little bit into it. So for example, say a bullet point will look something like 2 years of leadership experience due to, I don't know, and then you put a volunteer position that you did or something like that. So you're showcasing your skills, but you're giving a little bit more of information about how you got it without going like fully into it. Then, of course, you're gonna include your education. So when you're in school, you put a candidate for and then the program you're doing, because it's important to highlight that you haven't finished school. And then you're gonna add the university, the year you're supposed to graduate if you haven't done so. And sometimes in education, we include relevant courses or relevant projects. So for example, if I was applying as a student, if I were applying for a marketing job and I don't have a lot of marketing experience related to like work positions or like paid positions, sorry, um, I would probably add some projects that I did for university that are related to marketing, because those also showcase my skills. So doesn't matter if I got paid or not, but I got to practice those skills that they're looking for through my project. So I will probably include that too. right? This is also good to kind of like populate your resume when you don't have a lot of experience, as I said before. And the other big part to notice too is that international experience, it's also good. Don't feel like because it's a job that you did back in your country, it's not really, it's not a valid work experience, because it is. Again, the main point is to showcase how you've practiced those skills, how you've developed those skills that they're looking for, right? So you can definitely put some work that you've done probably in your home country, if that's the case. Um, yeah, so you can also include volunteering opportunities. That is really good in a resume because it shows that you do something else that uh, other than just like a position because of you get paid per se. And also that shows your interests in acting, kind of like what you do with your time. um, and that's the other part too, right? You can also include your interest and activities there. Sometimes this is good to make kind of more of a, like a personal touch to the resume. You're not just a person that's like good at this and this, but you're a real person that's interested in tennis or working out or photography and things like that. And sometimes that could lead, in interviews at least, that could lead to other conversations too, right? And to kind of like make it a little more casual. um Sorry. Sometimes you're gonna add honors and awards. I didn't put it in the list as a thing because sometimes we don't have those, but it is good to put any award that you got. You can put it there, and anything else relevant to the job. For example, sometimes job postings are looking for people that are bilingual and know, I don't know, French or Spanish or things like that. So in this case, in this resume, he has here included, oh, someone else wants to join. There you go. He's included the languages he knows because that's probably relevant for the job he's for. Hello, welcome. Oh, sorry, I asked to mute by mistake. So a pro tip is to include keywords for the job description. So you're gonna try to match those skills that you read from the job description with your resume. And how you can do that, the best way to do that is including some keywords from the job description into your resume. So we're gonna see that now. Before writing your resume, make sure that you read the job description. So I've put it here, a job description from a website, a U Waterloo website. Read the job description, select the keywords, and then try to include those in your resume. Don't make it too obvious, including all of them or in the same order, but definitely include them. So, for example, here we have, let me see one. Oh, this is the duties, sorry. Yeah, so you're gonna go to like specific duties that you're gonna see, and one of them, it says like create marketing campaigns. If you've done that, you can definitely mention it, and that's gonna be a match for keywords, right? Because they're looking for it and you have it. um, and this will prove that you understand the duties and requirements they are looking for in an employee, and also that your skill set meets the required qualifications that they're seeking on an employee as well. A lot of another good reason to include these keywords from the job description into your resume is that at least for large companies, when they have a lot of applicants, they use AI softwares to kind of like scan the applicants and narrow it down to only the ones that are like most qualified. So those softwares are not gonna really fully read your resume, but are gonna try to match the words because they are algorithms. So they're gonna try to match the job description with the resume that you're submitting. So the best way to do that and to get match is to kind of like include those keywords. This is another version of a simpler design for a resume. It's as important as the other one, and it's as good as the other one. It's just a simpler version in terms of layout. So it doesn't have like much color or like a structure like the one that we saw before. It's more straight to the point. And this, it's definitely good too. As long as you have good information in it, it's good. Does anyone have any questions about the resume part?
Hi, sorry. Yeah, I actually do have a question. It's if we have a job offer that's in an English-speaking country, but that we're so can I just like give my example? So I'm like bilingual in French and English, and if I'm applying to a job where they only say where like the job requirements is only to speak English, is it actually necessary to actually write in the resume like bilingual in English or French, or is that like not really relevant?
It's not necessary because it's not needed for your job. I will say it's a good skill to showcase,
Yeah.
because it is definitely good to focus on the skills that they're asking for the job. But it sometimes it's you have those some extra skills. It's also good to put it. What I did in my case is that I put in the summary of qualification as my last point, as my last bullet point. I put fluent in Spanish as it was my mother tongue or something like that. But like I kind of like just put a line that says fluent in Spanish. If you have a lot of languages and maybe you want to populate your resume, so like if there is a space still empty in your resume or something like that to make it look more like a polished resume, you can definitely include it as a whole section of like languages like we saw before. um,
Yeah.
but if you do have valid work experience or relevant experience that are more important for the job, just put it as just one bullet point in the summary of qualifications. That would be my advice.
Okay,
Because
thank you.
it's nice, at least in Canada, because of the double language that they use. It's nice to showcase that you do know both.
Okay, yeah. Thank you very much.
No problem. Anyone else has any other question? Okay, so moving on. As we said before, sometimes resume is gonna be asked also with a cover letter to support it, and that's definitely the purpose of a cover letter. It's to support your resume and expand on experience and qualifications you've already explained or like mentioned in your resume. Um, but what is a cover letter? Like the word said, it's a letter. It's a letter that you address to the employer. So that means the company or the department that you are applying for. And it's one page. It's a one-page document that introduces a more elaborate overview of your work history and professional skills. And again, that is relevant to the job opening. Um, so here, it's more of an opportunity for you to write it in a paragraph and explain why you're a good fit for the job. You are, of course, just putting, for example, the way I see it, it's you're putting your resume into paragraphs. So if in your resume you talk about your work experience, here you're gonna expand a little bit more on that work experience and what you gain from it, right? So my job as a marketing assistant, I gain skills in designing posters, making video content, things like that, right? But always there are things that are relevant to the job. So if the job is asking you, for example, I don't know, you're applying for a research opportunity, I don't think a lot of the presentation skills are going to be um, relevant for them because you're not going to be doing that. So it's not really worth mentioning in the cover letter. You should definitely focus on skills that they're looking for and just kind of like put it into into words how that volunteering and work experience helped you to gain these skills and what you learned from it, right? Um, any cool projects that you've done, that's also included there. Yeah, so what to include specifically? Again, you're gonna put your contact information. It's gonna be less this time. It's usually just your name, your phone number, email, and then address if you want to. Um, then you're gonna put the date when you're writing the letter, because all the letters have dates on it. And then the salutation. So basically, you're gonna put whose address to. In this case, it says Human Resources Company ABC, and then the actual address for the company or where it's located. And then dear Mr., Mrs., or whoever is recruiting, which you probably find in the job posting. You'll find all that information there. And then we go into paragraphs. So the first paragraph, it's called opening paragraph. Why is it? Because, like the word said, it's just a nice way to introduce yourself and explain where do you find the position, what position you're applying for, um, and then a little bit more, just a quick, like 1 or 2 sentences of explaining why you would be a good fit for it. So, kind of like summarizing your strength and area of specialization. And the main point of the opening paragraph is to express interest in the position that you're applying for, right? So, the two middle paragraphs, usually it's two, it will really depend, um, are for you to explain those work experiences or history and all the skills that you gain. So that's really when where you're gonna dive into why you are a good fit for the company, right? Um, and again, like just you're gonna discuss a skill set that they're asking for, how you gain those, like as I said before, like in as a marketing recruitment assistant, I had the opportunity to blah 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 blah, and then you say the tasks you were doing probably, or the skills that you developed there, and things like that. And then you have the closing paragraph, which is basically just restating your interest for the job, saying that you, well, not saying, but like kind of like implying that you will be a good fit for the company, and also providing a way of contact. So that could be, you can add your cell phone number there, saying that they can contact you there, or you can put it at your email address. They usually put both. But yeah, and then the last part is the sign off, which is basically just putting that it's from you. Again, the tip here is to include keywords from the job posting. So just basically any qualifications they're asking for in the job posting, try to match those with the skills that you have, and explain a little more how you gain those skills. Uh, Anyone has any questions about the cover letter? Perfect. So yeah, the next part is the job search. The cover letter is really short because, as I said before, it's just a supporting document to the resume. So you're kind of just sorry, let me go back. You're kind of just explaining the same thing a little bit in more depth, I would say. But a good thing to know, also a tip, is that in the opening paragraph, where you state your interest for the job, make sure to put the right job title. Especially when you're applying to different job positions, it is really common to kind of like miss those little details. But make sure that you put this exact name of the position that you're applying for, so it doesn't look like a generic cover letter, because you want to make it look as a personalized cover letter. So you're writing that cover letter specifically for that company, right? And I say that as you dive into job searching, you will get to a point where you do have a general resume and a general cover letter, and then you will just make some small changes depending where you're applying for. But the goal is always trying to make it look as customized as possible to that specific job. Okay, now we go into job search. So job search can be really hard because there's so many different platforms online, and so many different jobs, but sometimes because of COVID, all of them are online too. Um, but we're gonna show you a few cool tools that you can use. So on-campus job listing websites, um, that the main ones they have are Waterloo Leads, which is a website by the University of Waterloo meant for job listing. So you will find all the jobs on campus there. We also have WUSA, which is our student government organization. And in their website, they also have different ways to get involved. And these include part-time job opportunities and volunteering opportunities. And we also have Waterloo Works, you probably heard of, which is basically another platform where you can find jobs. But these ones are more addressed to co-op opportunities and full-time jobs. So if you're looking for a part-time job, you will probably want to go to Leads first. Leads is your go-to for part-time jobs. And then the coolest thing, it's called International Work Study Program. So the International Work Study Program, it's, as it says, a program, but that offers job positions for international students only. So this program was meant for international students to have an opportunity to find jobs. I'm going to show you a little more about that. So I'm going to stop screen sharing this to go and explore these websites for a bit. Anyone has any questions at this point? Okay, let's screen share the other one. Oh, just perfect. Oops. Oh, login. All the URL platforms log out like an hour after you don't use them. There you go. And here. So this one, can you guys see my screen? Sorry, I just need to find the chat box here. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you for the confirmation. So this is Waterloo Leads. So, oh, sorry. On this website, it's where you will find all the jobs that are listed on campus. So as you can see here, you would not only find part-time jobs, but also volunteering opportunities. Like you can see here that says volunteering, store volunteering and stuff like that. So you can just scroll down and see all the jobs that there are there available for you. If you don't have a specific idea of what you want to work in, you can just scroll down and search and search and search. An important thing to know is that they will always highlight the deadline. So when do you need to submit your documents by? Yeah, and then the other part is they will divide it by the department that it's posting the job. So WUSA, the food bank department, or the campus response team, and things like that, co-op connections. If you do know what you want to do or what you want to focus on, because you say, I'm basing this on marketing just because for the purpose of having a specific point. But if I want to improve my marketing skills, then I will go and do marketing here and search, go. And then all the jobs related to marketing will show up, right? So media and public relations manager, for example. So I'm gonna apply here once I know what job I want or like what sounds interested. And I'm gonna go into full details about the job. So it will give you the deadline again, the service description, that means the department you're working for, like what's the main purpose of it. And then it will give you the role description, what you will do, all the key accountabilities, that means the duties that you will be doing, the requirements and assets, means the qualifications or skills they're looking for. So you have to be excellent in communication skills, dedication and commitment, ability to work independently, things like that. So those are the things that you wanna try to match in your resume. Yeah. So once you are sure that you want to apply for a job, you go to apply, and then it will just ask you for your contact information. You will fill all this in, and then sometimes they will have some questions there for you to answer. If you do have this, I do recommend that you copy and paste these questions into a Word document or somewhere else, because I said before, all the U Waterloo platforms, after an amount of time, they log out. So sometimes they don't save this, and you could just lose all of this. So it's better to have it in a safer place, like a Word document where you can just work on it at your own pace, at your own time, right? And once you have it ready, you just copy and paste it back here with the answers. Yeah, and then for this one, I don't think um, resume is asked for, but usually there should be a here box, just like the submit application one, with an option to submit a PDF of your resume. And then you just submit the application, and that's it. The other one as I told you guys about is WUSA. So yeah, so WUSA is, as I said before, the student government at the University of Waterloo. So they have a section in Get Involved that's called Employment and Volunteer Opportunities, and they will have all the jobs that they have available there. So you will just click on the one that you're interested in or you think it's a good fit for you. It will give you an estimate of how much you will get paid. This is a good rate, by the way, for a student at the university. It will give you again the job description, the summary of duties, so things you will do at the job, things that they're looking for in you, so qualifications. And then because this website is not meant to be for job listing, you are asked to, here, please submit a cover letter and resume to Stephanie. So they will give you the contact information where to address that in the application documents that you have to submit. Okay, and then the last one, because I do have access to Waterloo Works, but because I'm not a student, I don't have all the options that a student has. But this one is the International Work Study Program. So this one is the one that's really cool. I've applied through it so many times when I was in university. So the eligibility requirements are really easy, not really anything out of this world. You have to be an international student. You have to be registered in an undergraduate program. And you have to be enrolled in a minimum of 60% of your courses. So that means you have to be a full-time student, which you guys are gonna be anyways. So you have to pay your tuition, so have no balance in Quest. And then they're asking for satisfactory academic standing and a social insurance number. For those of you who are already in Canada, you will probably have that by now. But for those who are coming to Canada, that's something that you get here once you come. Then you're gonna go to job posting online, and that's where you will find all the jobs that are available for international students. Right now, it says that all spring term positions have been filled at this time, and it's because spring is almost over, so it makes sense that all the positions for this term are already filled. But at the end of, at the beginning of September, you will find all the jobs for fall term, and the same every start of the term. You will find all the jobs here. You do have to apply through an application form. So something that looks like this, you can just download it, fill it in, and then go submit it. Uh, Here, there are all the instructions for how to do the application. So complete it, attach a copy of your valid study permit, and then where you have to send it. Yeah, so those are three main websites that you guys can go to find jobs. Um, Let me just go back to the slide. So I'm going to give you guys the links here so you can have them. Let me go back. Perfect. We also have some off-campus job listing websites, which are more common and more like general for everyone. We have Indeed, Monster, Job Bank, also specifically to Waterloo. It's the Kitchen of Waterloo Working Center. Conestoga Mall, it's a mall here in Waterloo. They have a website, and in the website they have also posted job opportunities. Then Costco and Home Depot, for those who don't know, are big stores here in Canada. And they do have some in Waterloo, so you can always go to their website and see what options they have for you. But I will say definitely LinkedIn is the main platform that students use to find a job, and also that they use for networking. So for those who don't know, LinkedIn, it's kind of like a Facebook um, website, but for professional development instead of just socializing. So you will have opportunities to post there and everything and share other posts, but it's mostly focused on professional development. So it's like your online profile of a professional or a student, right? So those are some websites you can go to if you're looking for a part-time job. Then the last part is some interview tips. So because all of the interviews are different, and right now they're offered also in different ways, so like phone call, video call, or in person, we're going to give you just a few tips, right? So search the company before your interview. Make sure that you do some research on what company you're going to work for if you don't know. If it's on campus, it's really easy, but it is also nice to go and look into what they do, because sometimes they do ask you like, what do you know about our company, or what do you know about us, right? Or how do you hear about, I don't know, the bike center at the student life center in the university, something like that. Dress appropriately. I said appropriately because it really depends on the tone of the department or company you're going to apply for. For example, when I applied for being a peer leader at Renison, I didn't do the full business dress code, because I know Renison, I lived there, and it's more kind of like a casual thing. Um, so I definitely did dress casually. So not like too, like I'm going to the mall either, not like that. But it was not as like business as if you were applying for a position in a bank or something like that, right? So dress appropriately, depending on the tone of the company or like who you're working for, things like that. Be on time, and that can mean so many different things. So be on time. If it's online, if your interview is online, make sure the platform you're going to use it's working. So like open Zoom beforehand to see everything is working, or Teams, or anything. Like sometimes they do Skype. For example, I don't use Skype a lot, but I used to have interviews on Skype. So I will always make sure it's working and it's running beforehand, because like I said, because I don't use it a lot, I don't notice if it's not working. So make sure to have everything ready. That also means being on time. And if it's in person, make sure you know where you're going, you know what bus you're taking, if you're taking a bus, or like just make room for error too, in case the bus is late or their Uber, the taxi doesn't come on time, things like that. Make room for some error there too. Um, and then answer the question. Don't get distracted in going into the other direction when you're answering a question. Go straight to the point. Use the STAR method. So I'm going to explain a little bit more about it in a bit, but it is a good way to answer a question. Review common interview questions. There is so many different resources online, or like question banks online for common questions asked in an interview. So make sure to review those and go through it. Look at what do you think it's gonna be in the interview. Be prepared for it. Like some common questions are: tell me about yourself, or like why do you apply for the job? Yeah, things like that. Or like why do you think you're a good fit for the job position, things like that. And then at the end of the interview, they always give you a little bit of time in case you have any questions for them, and it really good for you to have prepared those questions. So prepare a few questions that you can ask them at the end. It can be related to their company, it can be related to the job you're gonna do, or anything that you're really curious about, and it's within the standards of a good question. Yeah, so the STAR method, it's just a great way and great structure to have when answering a question in an interview. So you're going to explain the situation first. It's called STAR because it's situation, task, action, result. You're going to explain the situation first. You're going to describe the challenge that you encounter at work or school, or just explaining how this happened, right? The task. So, what was your role in the situation? What was your part? What do you do? Action. How do you do this? So, detail the steps that you took to address the situation. And then the result is describe what happened as a result of your actions. This means that usually when you're talking about a project that you did or something that you did, just showing the outcomes and that it went well, it says a lot, because they don't only want to know what skills you apply, but actually if those skills or that work that you put in paid off. So it's always good to show results if you have stats about the results. So like percentages and things like that, or numbers in any way, and they're good and look good and make you look good, definitely say them. So yeah, remember situation, task, action, and result. That's the STAR method. So for example, if they tell you, tell me about a time where you had to work under pressure, right? Because maybe the job that you're applying for involves working under pressure. So you're gonna start explaining the situation. So like if it happens when I was in, there was a time where I had to work in a final project that was 50% of my final grade during the final exams season, something like that. You're working under pressure because like you have a lot of things to do, and you have to be good at all of them, right? um, yeah, so and then you're going to explain what you did. So what was your role in the situation? I had to actually get a good grade in my work project with my group, and but also make sure that I was not negligent. I was not like forgetting about my exams, because you need those to pass too. um, and then what actions did you take in order to do that? So I set up a calendar with specifically like small milestones for the project, small steps or like progress that I needed to do by this specific time to make sure that I'm on top of the project and like everything, and I'm gonna have it on time and make it fit with my studying calendar for my final exams, things like that. That's like an action part. And then the result, what happened? Did you get a good grade? Were you good at your exams? Did you finish on time? Did you finish ahead? That says a lot too. So things like that. This is a really, really, really basic example, but it's just a way to describe the STAR method. And finally, something that I wanted to talk to you about is the Center for Career Action. So the Center for Career Action works with all students, employees, and alumni on different things. The main thing you're going to focus on right now is the work search. So they help you with anything related to the work search process. They can do that through individual appointments, drop-ins, workshops, events, online resources, and job postings. So they have a really cool website because everything is online right now. They have a really cool website where you can do drop-ins for one-on-one sessions. These sessions do last 15 minutes, and it's as I said before, it's a one-on-one. So you will meet with someone from there, and they will give you feedback on your resume. This could be also for your cover letter, or this could be a practice for your interview. So they offer these three different resources or like services. Sorry. So the important thing to know about this is that they're not gonna do the job for you. You will be asked to hand in the job description, so like kind of have for them to have an overview of what job you're applying for, and then your resume. Your resume has to be ready, and your cover letter has to be ready. What they're doing is giving you feedback on how to improve what you've already done. Yeah, but do not expect them to do the work for you. It's just a great resource to have that critique and that have that feedback beforehand, so you can improve your resume and then submit the improved version of it, which is definitely better. And it will make you look as a more well-rounded candidate. As I said before, you can go to the Center for Career Action website to do this. Another cool thing that they do have is a workshops website. So I'm gonna show you that in a second, and that's the last part of the workshop. So we're gonna go back to um, oh we're oh no oh here, sorry, we're gonna go back to this one, and it's here. So this is the Center for Career Action, and then they have a section called Career Development Workshops, because Center for Career Action, as I said before, they also offer workshops, and these are a great way to build your skills and improve your skills. They have workshops about work, teamwork, communication, leadership, anything that you can think of, they do have a workshop for it. Okay, so the cool part that I wanted to show you is that they do have this part that's called career development workshops, where they have pre-recorded workshops. So they already did these ones and recorded it, just like we're recording this one right now, and then submit it here. So you can watch it at your own pace, at your own time, from wherever you want, and you're still learning. So I think this is pretty cool. So you just click on one of them. They'll probably ask me for a login right now. Um, so if you want to know more about like how to find a job, you will click here and you will go to, oh, hopefully it's not loud. Okay, yeah. And then it will get you to different videos or mini presentations of different parts of how to find a job, right? If you want to know about more about like a cover letter, same thing. So it's really cool because you can watch this on your own time, go at your own pace, make notes and everything. Um, yeah, so I remember I mentioned LinkedIn, so they have one for it too. They definitely have different things more than that. So make sure to check it out. I'm gonna share this link with you guys. Perfect. And that will conclude my part of the workshop. Do you guys have any questions at this point? I know it's a lot of information. And again, as I said before, this is gonna be this has been recorded, and we will post this one or the link to the recording after the session. But if you have any questions now, feel free to ask. Okay, what part did you guys like most, or were you most interested in from the workshop? Is there a part that was like, oh yeah, I really needed to know about this, or I will be more curious about like learning more in the future? Oh, in the job finding part. Yeah, definitely. I think sometimes we don't know where we have to go or we can go to find jobs. So I think it's definitely good to have those resources. I definitely recommend Leads for finding a part time job specifically, because that's the main one. And that's probably the one that I found all of my part time jobs when I was a student. If you want to start, if you want to work within the university, if you want to do something outside of it, then go to Indeed. They have a lot of different filters, just like in Leads. So you can put there that you're looking for a part-time, and then it will show you only the part-time jobs. Writing a resume. Yeah, resume was something that for me was definitely new when I came here, because we only have CVs for Ecuador in my country. So yeah, it was definitely new, and it's really interesting to learn how to write one. Um, Make sure to check out um, the Center for Career Action workshops, because they give you a little bit more of tips of how to write compelling resumes, which is really great, because in a resume you're not all like only showcasing your skills, but also just kind of like your writing and your best way to communicate. And it is good to have a good grammar, to have a good vocabulary. Don't be too like big or casual with it, because it's professional, so it has to be a formal writing, things like that. So if you want more advice on that, I definitely um, advise you to, or suggest you to go to the Center for Career Action, to the drop-ins, or watch the videos that I put there and everything. Also, go to your instructors. They're always happy to help you with those things. Okay, well, that concludes my part of the workshop. Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it. I hope you learned a lot about the workshop today, and just finding a part time job. Please let me know when you find one, no matter when that is, like in fall term or winter term. I'll always be happy. And if something helped you through the process, um, that makes me like really really happy. That's the whole point, and I'm happy for that. So thank you so much, and I hope to see you in the next events. But thanks so much for coming today. Have a good night if you are in the other part of the world, and have a good day if you are here. Bye guys.